My mother-in-law tried to control our lives, but our wedding changed everything. It was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives, the day we'd dreamed about for years, from the moment we were just two kids in love. But as I stood there, at the altar, looking out over the crowd, one seat remained painfully empty. The one person who'd controlled his life for so long wasn't there. The person who had always demanded to be at the center of everything simply wasn't. It was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives, the day we'd dreamed about for years, from the moment we were just two kids in love. But as I stood there at the altar, looking out over the crowd, one seat remained painfully empty. The one person who'd controlled his life for so long wasn't there. The person who had always demanded to be at the center of everything simply wasn't. You could almost hear the ghost of her disapproval in the silence. But before I dive into that, let me take you back to the beginning. My husband and I, we've known each other since we were just kids. Best friends since middle school, we were inseparable. In 8th grade, we finally made it official. We were young, and our love was that sweet, innocent kind of love that feels invincible. But there was someone who couldn't stand it. His mother. She hated that someone else could have her son's attention, someone outside the little world she'd built around him. You see, he was the baby of the family, the golden child. And in her eyes, no one deserved his love except her. She told him to break up with me. She told him that if he didn't, he would go to hell. Disobedient children, after all, were destined for eternal damnation. That's what she believed. Or maybe it was just the kind of thing you say when you want to control someone, when you're desperate to be the most important person in their life. For years, he was emotionally manipulated by her. Every time he tried to take a step towards independence, she'd pull him right back. And for a long time, it worked. My husband, he's a good man, obedient, respectful, the kind of son every mother would be proud of. He never rebelled, never fought back. He grew up singing in church, helping out at home, doing everything he could to make his parents proud. And for his mother, that meant doing everything she asked, without question. And she asked for a lot. It wasn't just the little things. No, those would have been too easy. It was big things, things that would tie him to her forever. She convinced him that if he didn't buy her designer clothes, pay her bills, or fund her lavish dreams, he was a failure, a bad son. He worked hard, so hard. He climbed his way up the corporate ladder, earning every dollar. But almost every dollar went to her. She didn't just ask for help, she demanded it. And he gave in, every time. A new RV? Of course. She told him it was her dream that they all go camping together as a family. She already had 4 cars parked in her driveway, and she had a mortgage to pay, but none of that mattered to her. She wanted the RV, and she got it. She wanted a $2,000 couch? He bought it. She had racked up credit card debt that could suffocate anyone, but it didn't faze her, because she knew her son would pay it off. He always did. And she told him, over and over, that he owed her. He owed her for being born, for everything she had sacrificed to bring him into the world, and he believed it. By the time he was 22, a grown man, he still had a curfew. Can you believe that? A grown man, paying almost every bill in the house, and she still insisted he be home by 9 p.m., like a child. We missed out on so much. Nights out, dinners, simple moments together, because she had him convinced that he needed to obey her, or he was failing her. When we finally announced that we were getting married, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I knew she wouldn't approve. In her mind, if we got married, she would lose control over him. If he moved out of her house, he wouldn't be there to obey her every command. But I didn't expect what happened next. The day before our wedding, my husband, still hoping, still wishing, went to see her one last time. He wanted her blessing. He wanted her to be there on our big day. After everything, he still wanted her approval. She said no. Flat out no. Her absence hung over us like a dark cloud the next day. We got married. Of course we did. We were surrounded by the people who loved us, the people who mattered. But the emptiness of her rejection, her refusal to let go of the reins, was still there. After the wedding, I finally sat down with my husband and told him everything. I told him how she had been emotionally manipulating him for years, how she had twisted his love, his devotion, into something she could control. And I told him the truth. He didn't owe her. Not for being born, not for anything. That was the moment he woke up. He looked back over the years at all the things he'd done for her, buying her things, paying her bills, sacrificing his own happiness, and realized that it was never enough for her. It would never be enough. For the first time in his life, he stood up to her. He told her that the money stopped. He had a family now, a wife, and his priority was us. He wasn't going to be her personal bank account anymore. He wasn't going to be the puppet on her strings. And do you know what she said? She blamed me. Of course she did. In her mind, I was the reason he had stopped giving her everything she wanted. I was the reason she had to get a second job. She told everyone that I had turned him against her, that he would never visit her again because of me. But none of that was true. He made that decision on his own, because he finally saw the truth. For the first few months after the wedding, things weren't easy. He struggled. He had panic attacks, thinking about how she used to scream at him for staying late at work, for breaking curfew. Years of manipulation don't just disappear overnight. But slowly, things got better. We got better. He started to see how much more peaceful life could be without her constant demands. He still helps her sometimes, when she really needs it. But that's it. No more designer bags, no more vacations on his dime, just the bare minimum. And that's how it should be. There's something people don't tell you about emotional manipulation. They don't tell you how it sneaks up on you, how it hides in the little things until you're so tangled in someone else's expectations that you can't even see your own. But I'm proud of him. I'm proud that he broke free. I'm proud that he chose us, our future, our life, over the strings that had kept him tied down for so long. And even though his mother didn't show up for our wedding, even though her absence still leaves a mark on his heart, it was her absence that finally set him free. He's no longer her puppet. He's no longer trapped by guilt or by the past. He's finally living his life for himself. And for me, that's all I ever wanted. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Stories Unfolded. Have you ever faced a situation like this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories about family, relationships, and the challenges we face in life.